get this cardio in and answer some questions. Answer some questions. Let's see. Let's answer some questions. Let's see what you got. Let's see. Let's answer some questions. Or have you watched something? Okay. Let's see. Let's put something too much while we're answering these questions. Let's see. Okay, so something too. Let's have questions. Questions. Okay, let's find some questions. Okay, let's see how to do that here. Okay, what's good, everybody? Thank you to those who are watching. Welcome back. I'm just doing some cardio and we'll be, answering some questions. Feel free to put the questions on the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Anything. But while you're waiting for the questions to come in, I will just be answering questions that I've gotten, over time, or questions that people have asked me at the gym, and the most question that I get, I think the question I've answered, mostly over time. Let me just turn this down. From from random people at the gym, the most what do they say? Frequently asked questions is that how old am I? How long I've been training? Those two questions together. Okay. So basically, not basically, but the answer is I am 37 years old, and then I've been training seriously, with decent um, decent knowledge, with somewhat decent diet since I was, let's say, since I was 22. But from, let's say, 22 until about 25, there was still a lot of things that I didn't know. But there was still, like right now, of course, I don't really know everything. But over time, from the time I was 25, or say 27, to now, 37, 10 years later, I've definitely learned a few things, gotten to understand, my body, gotten to see, what my body responds when it comes to diet, supplementation that work, and those that don't really work, or those that are somewhat a luxury. So basically, the answer to that question is that I'm 37, been training since I was in my 20s. So more than 15 years, but you can say that seriously, with decent experience for bodybuilding, with also decent diet, you can say 10 years. So yeah, that is that. How long I've been training. And another question is that supplementation. What is the supplements that I use? That question. Okay. When it comes to supplement, before I get into what I use, I feel that there are supplements that are a luxury. Or there's like one of them, pre-workout. That's a luxury. You can do without. And that's my opinion. You can do without. Intra-workout. When you get to a certain level, maybe you need them. When you're prepping for a show, maybe you may need them. But intra-workout, I feel that is another, luxury. Don't really need intra-workout. As I said, I think when you get to a certain level, you need it. But if you have some financial restrictions, personally, creatine monohydrate, that's 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 something that I feel is it's that's a must. Okay, so personally, what did I which did I used? I use creatine monohydrate every day, and also use zinc and magnesium just to help me sleep, and um, yeah, mainly just to help me sleep and just overall health that is provided by magnesium. It really, for me, it really, I don't know, I can feel. I'm not gonna try and explain it scientifically and all of that, but for me, those are the two supplements I use. Um, I read somewhere about vitamin D supplements also being crucial. Luckily for me, I think I get enough sun, because they say if you can get at least 45 to about an hour sun, um, somewhat maybe without a shirt or along those lines, if you will not be um, in need of that vitamin D supplement. So I think I get enough sun. Whey protein or protein shake that I just take, um, just an extra, because I feel that diet-wise, I am getting enough protein from my diet. But the protein shake, it's somewhat a luxury, or it's added on to make sure that, if I can, hit an excess amount of protein, or see how much my body can handle. But whey protein, it's a luxury. It's a luxury. Um, Another question that I get regularly is that weight, training with weight, or training or doing cardio. For me personally, I always I'll choose weight if you have to choose between you know between the two. I'll choose the weight, but you do need you know some cardiovascular work. There's this thing I read. I'm sure I probably was a video that you prefer to reach muscular failure before you can reach cardiovascular failure. So now, meaning now that it's better when you're doing your weight training that your muscles are the one that are exhausted to a point where you cannot go on any further, instead of you struggling to breathe while you feel that you can still do more. uh, Ed, I'm gonna call you Ed. um, um, Apologies for me pronouncing your name incorrectly. Edward, I think that's how your name is pronounced. Hey, hope you're good. Hopefully having a good day. Let me know where you're watching from, and then if you have any questions, fitness related, bodybuilding, along those lines, Please let me know. Thank you for watching. Uh, Please like, it really helped the channel. Then if you have not subscribed, I would appreciate if you can subscribe. So I was saying that other question I get regularly is that which one is better between lifting weights and doing cardio. As I said, for me, if I had to choose, most likely I just choose the weight because I want to be strong and look a certain way. But with that being said, you prefer to reach muscular failure um, before you can reach cardiovascular failure. So now, meaning now that you prefer that your muscles are the ones that are exhausted, you cannot push anymore before your breathing becomes the issue. So in that sense, you do need a decent amount of cardio to make sure that your weak vascular um, cardiovascular does not interfere with you getting the gains or you completing you know your workout in the gym. So for me, this is the cardio that I do about a couple of times a week, nice and steady, nothing hectic. I'm not trying to run a marathon or do a cycling race or all of that. I'm just doing this to make sure that when I'm training at the gym, vascular failure does not come before muscular failure. Because when I go to the gym, I want to build muscle. So I don't want anything to interfere with that. So I want my vascular health to be as healthy as it can be for me to achieve that. Let me see. Let me see what else. What other questions? I'm just gonna go to ChatGPT and just answer questions until anyone can just pop a question in the chat, and then I'll answer that. But according to ChatGPT, these are some of the questions that chat has received. Cardio before, after weight. You see with that, you can definitely warm up with the cardio equipment before you weight, but you don't want to use a lot of energy on that before now you get to the weight. So a warm up, yes, but like a full on cardio session, like more than 5-10 minutes before your actual training, it's a bit unnecessary. But when you sort of get to a certain level, you can perhaps afford to do that, or maybe it's recommended if you're really trying to build, trying to burn fat, and maybe muscular wise you're not trying to build muscle at that point, if you can put it that way. Those who know, there's a bodybuilder by the name of Tiger, but he's on the highest level is, you know, bodybuilding for 20, 30 years. What he does is that he does, I don't know if it's 15 minutes stairmaster before most of his trainings, most of his training sessions, because he considers that as, trying to sort of get your mind to focus or getting your mind to be, at the gym. He does that, and he also does the abs before most of his workout. But he's an experienced bodybuilder with huge muscle mass. He's, I'm sure he hasn't built any new muscle tissue in a long time. So for him, he can afford. But if you weigh, just started, little to minimum muscle mass, you cannot afford, or the interference of the energy usage that you're going to use while you're doing your cardio is going to be taken away from the energy that you need to build muscle. So, to that question, cardio before the gym in your earlier fitness journey, it's unnecessary because you're trying to maximize, the session to build as much muscle as you can. And doing cardio before will definitely interfere with that because you're going to use a decent amount of energy for the cardio, and when it's time to the work session, you won't really have energy, or you will have, but it will be better, that you don't spend or you don't make use of that energy doing cardio. Just go straight to the weight, obviously warm up and all of that. So that's that. If you can, even after your session, if you can, don't do cardio after a session. Maybe have a separate day for the cardio. That's what I try and do. I have a separate day for cardio, or if let's say I'm training in the evening, I'll probably maybe do cardio maybe early in the morning or sometime, but far away from the weight. As I said, that with the weight, you don't want, you prefer to use most of your energy for the weight. Doing cardio before, it's gonna be sort of, it's like when you have a budget, you go to a supermarket, you have a budget. You don't want to be spending your money outside the market. Maybe there's a hot dog stand, if there's a store where you can buy chips and all of that. You don't want to do that because you're still going to the supermarket to buy like your main groceries. So by the time you get to the shop, you spend your money on stuff that you may not be needing on the day in question. So it's better than go inside the supermarket, buy your main things. The other thing that's left, you can purchase the sweets and hot dogs afterwards, or leave them for a different day. So that's how I see it. The workout is the main groceries. Cardio is like the extras. You may need them, but not every day. So that's my take um, on that. Let's see. Let's see on the chat if there's any questions before. Okay, this thing seems to be uploading the chat. Let me do this. Because if there's no question in the chat, I'm gonna definitely see what other questions are there in chat that I can answer. Hopefully, it can be useful to someone else, and then if the person is you're watching this video a couple of days after the day that was live, you can just pop the questions on the comments. I will definitely answer them. Um, I'll answer them on the chat, because hopefully it may happen that the person will watch this maybe 2 days, 3 days later, and then they have a question. Okay, so no questions on the chat. You can go to another question on ChatGPT. Morning or evening, your evening workout. Then and there, I think it will depend. It will depend on your life. You need to be at work early. Are you working from home? Do you start work late? Are you working that shift? And I think that will be just up to you. But no, not but. My experience with that is that if your job is not challenging mentally and physically, afternoon or evening workout, you definitely enjoy them, because you've been having your meals and somewhat well rested, so you can get out more out of evening sessions. Morning sessions, if fasted, if you can, you really, it's like lazy. I'm not gonna say laser focus, because people are different. But for me, both evening and morning I can do. And my experience with morning sessions, if you can just maybe get a banana in and maybe a shot of coffee, and you don't really waste time before, from the time you're waking up to the time you get to the gym, you can really enjoy it. You just banana, coffee with maybe a sprinkle of salt. You definitely enjoy it, because you are alert. You don't give your mind the chance to convince you not to go in and out, because unfortunately sometimes with the evening workout you need to convince your body or convince yourself, because now it's been a long day of working, and I'm thinking, should I go to the gym or should I go home? There's tomorrow, there's all of that, so that you may end up convincing yourself not to go. But both, if you really, or once you've sort of got into a nice groove, or once your momentum speed, you've achieved it, because with fitness or with almost anything, momentum is somewhat crucial. As like when you're pushing a car, when you, let's say now the car is run out of petrol or whatever the case is, when you're starting to push it, it's very challenging, because it's standing still. But once it starts moving, it becomes lighter. And then for you to be able to, get to wherever you're pushing the car to, you don't want to stop. You just want to keep pushing it. So now once you've reached momentum and it's come to training, it becomes easier. It becomes easier. Obviously, it'll be challenging. When you're starting out, you definitely be challenged when you're starting out. But once you've reached a nice spot, it would not matter if it's evening or mornings. You just know that it needs to be done. But there's no, from experience, there's no benefits that you can get from training in the morning that you can't get in the evening. It's just perhaps the mindset is different in the morning and the evening. From experience, in the morning you just woke up. There's less convincing on yourself not to go. You just woke up. So if you went to bed locked in, say in the morning, you're gonna go. As soon as you wake up, you do whatever quickly, and then you go. By the time you're done with the gym, whatever excuses you would have brought up or whenever, it would have been too late for them. But if you're not training in the evening, you have the whole day to convince yourself not to go. So that's my experience. Let's see if there's any something on the church. Let's see. I think now I'm almost done with this kind of session. Definitely will go live again the next day, or I'll go live I'll try three times a week or every other day. Let me put it away. Let's see if there's anything in church. I don't know if it's my network or whatever the thing is, but church doesn't seem to be looking normal. But if person has a question, you can just put in a comment. If they're watching this, later on a different day. I think that should be that for today, and I can answer more questions on live on a different day. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on a different day and you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And yeah, have a good day.